As little girls, we grow up dreaming of having babies, and we think of what their names will be when we grow up. But we never give much thought on what we'll feed them. We just assume that we'll feed them milk out of a bottle. Until you're at the hospital and the nurse comes in and asks, will you be breastfeeding or bottle feeding? Well, what do? Well, that's where I come in today. Today I will discuss the importance of breastfeeding. And hopefully by the end of this speech, you will see that breastfeeding is the right choice you should make. Unless you have a severe medical condition that doesn't allow you to breastfeed or your baby can't take it, you should choose it. First, I will go over how breastfeeding is beneficial to your baby. When your baby first comes out and you hold it for the first time, you can just imagine the love and joy and happiness you will feel. But wouldn't you like that bond to get stronger? Of course you would. That's why breastfeeding is so important. With breastfeeding, it creates a bond that cannot be created with any other form. Of course, with bottle feeding, you get somewhat of a bond because you're feeding your baby and you're with it. But when you actually breastfeed, it sends out signals to your brain that release certain chemicals and allows you to feel good, and that way you can take care of your baby. And when you're on your best, your baby's on its best also, which leaves room for happiness. And that's all we want, is a happy baby and a happy mom. When babies first come out, their first reaction is to turn to their mother and start suckling. Why do you think that is? Well, it's because it's nature. That's what is intended for babies to do. That's the way babies need to be fed. Breastfeeding is not easy. Just like children, each journey can be a difficult challenge. But if you stick with it, I promise the benefits will outweigh the hard times. According to Healthy People 2010 Centers for Disease and Control Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia, breast milk is widely acknowledged and is the most complete form of nutrition for infants, with a range of benefits for infants' health, growth, immunity, and development. With that being said, babies that are breastfed are less likely to become sick, which just includes less ear infections, respiratory infections, which this is mainly because of the antibodies that are passed directly from the mother to the child, which you can't get these antibodies from formula. So that's why it's so important for women to breastfeed. But not only does breastfeeding keep the infant healthy, it creates a building block that will last with the child throughout its entire life. We have just went over how breastfeeding affects the child. Now we will continue with how breastfeeding can affect the mother. According to the article by Catherine Harmon, How Breastfeeding Benefits Mother's Health, published April 30th, 2010. Feeding infants with breast milk has been shown to improve babies' health and even IQ. But the benefits of breastfeeding also appear to stay with the mother for years to come, lowering risk of cardiovascular disease and cancers. The bond that you get from being able to supply your child with milk is like no other bond you will ever get in your life. This is something that cannot be replaced. This is why most women, after they're done weaning their child from breastfeeding, usually go through what we call postpartum blues. And you're thinking, well, people usually get this after they have a baby. Well, some scientists are actually saying that breastfeeding is the 4th trimester. So what this means is a lot of people aren't finishing the last trimester of their pregnancy. They're just stopping it. Their babies are getting formula, their milk dries up, and their bodies are just out of whack. We currently do not know what this holds. What this means is we do not know what the effects of not living out the fourth trimester will do to each individual. We know that it can cause certain diseases to manifest if you don't, but we don't know how far that affects it. Lastly, today, I would like to encourage you to choose the right choice, and the right choice is breastfeeding. The science and benefits are out there. It just depends on you. Do you want your baby to be healthy throughout its life for years to come? Of course you do. Which I know there sometimes is circumstances where you can't breastfeed. Sometimes you don't get enough milk and your baby is just hungry and starving. But if you don't have a good medical reason, you should really try. Because if you're not trying for your child, who else can you try for? This is your child that you created. You need to give it the best nutrition you can. And by allowing your breast milk to give to your baby, it allows the child to be healthier throughout life. So today, I'm asking you to consider breastfeeding for your child. Today we have discussed two important things: the benefits that breastfeeding bring the mother as well as the child. I know not everyone can breastfeed, but the point I hope you get is that at least if you try and you can't succeed, you tried. But if you never give it a try, you never know. And it's a great experience, not only for you, but your baby. An experience you'll have for the rest of your life.